to discuss about dataset and SQL data adapter. So I hope you guys have done this assignment. Okay, this is very important as the data tables we are going to use very common in our ongoing classes. So you guys, if you have any doubts, you can ask me now about data tables. Okay, going forward means, so if you don't have any doubts and if you don't ask me any questions means I assume that you guys are comfortable with those objects and you are able to work with those objects at any point of time. Okay, so these data tables are very much important in working with larger applications. Okay, whenever you want to show some list of things, okay, I can say if you want to show some list of persons or students on a page, or even something like you can see in our Facebook page. Okay, you may see number of posts, so all those are visible because something like data table like thing they binding means they will attach the data to your screen, okay, by using data tables. Even your Gmail account, okay, whenever you are logging into your Gmail you can see list of mails, right? So those are also some kind of data tables they are binding to your page. Okay, so these are very much important when you want to work with some collections. Okay, so some kind of data, a large data about some entities. Okay, so that kind of things you can work with data tables. There are many alternates, but one thing is data tables, so they are very much important. So if you don't have any doubts on this means I assume that you guys are comfortable with this data table. Okay, so are you guys okay? Shall we proceed to the next section? Okay, so I assume that you guys are comfortable with data tables. Okay, so yesterday I couldn't run one example that I will show you. Not yesterday, my previous class. Okay, where is my data table example? It is here. Okay, so this one, as I explained yesterday, so we can filter the rows in a data table by using data view. So this is my default data view. I applied this condition. So I'm adding two records into my data table, and I want to print wherever the ID matches my thing. Okay, so wherever ID equal to 1, I have to select that. Okay, so if you see my data view, okay, my data view, you can just focus on that data view and you can see data view visualizer. Okay, so it is only one record in my data view. Okay, if you see the data table, it is having two records, Ganesh and Naresh. Okay, so the differentiator here is the data view filtered by a condition. Okay, so this condition is applied on your entire data table data, and the filtered data is now in your data view. That is, you can filter the data in this way. So any more doubts on this? Okay, that's fine. So now we have two other objects in our ADO.NET objects, as I mentioned here. Okay, so data adapter and data set. Okay, data view covered, data rows covered, and data set now we are going to discuss about. So a data set is nothing but a collection of data tables. Okay, so you can add as many data tables as you want to your database data set. It represents a complete set of data, including the tables that contain order and constraint the data as well as the relationship between the tables. So in your SQL Server, normally you can declare, you can create tables, you can create their relations, and you can even define some constraints like unique key constraints, primary key constraints. So all these you can maintain, you can create by using data set. Just a minute, yes. Okay, this data set, it maintains all those relations, constraints, and even our relation between tables. Everything you can maintain inside your data set. Okay, that's what data set, and you can add as many tables as into this one. Okay, and dataset simplifies programs that use many data tables. To effectively use the dataset, you will need to have some data tables handy. Okay, so handy means your application will have many data tables. So as we see in our SQL Server, I have created many tables. Okay, one is class table, another is branch, and one more is examination, students, student leaves, and student marks. Like this, I have created many data tables. So all these tables I can maintain in my data set. Okay, all these tables I can keep in my data set. And this data set again, it is a disconnected architecture. Disconnected means, so you need not to connect to your database. So the data tables, okay, for your choice you can create. But whereas data reader, so if you see the left side ones, these work with a live connection. Means the data whichever you are processing, accessing, they should be directly connected to any database. Otherwise they won't work. But this data table, data sets, you can create your own objects for this. And you can define your table structure and you can add to your data set. Okay, if you see my program, so the earlier program, ADO.NET, okay, the other program I will explain you here. Okay, so if you see, okay, Okay, is it fine now? Okay, is it fine now? Okay. So if you see our previous program, here the SQL connection, SQL command, and then other connection open, command execute reader. So this reader, so execute non-query, that one leave it. So print classes, here I am using execute reader. So this is a SQL data reader. All these require a live connection. So I am not going to close any connection here. So to work with the data adapter and data reader, I need this connection object and command object. Without these, I cannot execute the adapter or the execute reader, these two things. Okay, but whereas in my other program, here I didn't declare any connection or command objects, and directly I declared a table, and as I assigned some column names, and I am adding the data directly. So this data is nowhere related to my actual database. Okay, that's where I am calling, that is connected architecture, and this is disconnected architecture. So this one you can work without any database. You don't need any database to work with these objects. But whereas data adapter and data reader, you need a connection. Okay, you need a live database. With that only you can work. Okay, that is the main difference between connected and disconnected architecture. Okay, so this data set also a disconnected architecture. So you need not to connect to any database. Okay, you can create a number of tables, and you can create relations between the tables, and you can define even the column properties, or you can constrain, you can apply some constraints to that column. Okay, so this one string expression. Okay, so what I can do is I can declare some column here. Okay, data column equal to new data column. Okay, I can define column dot allow db null. You can say false. Auto increment means, like in SQL Server we are doing some auto increment, right? It starts from 1, and then the automatically the value increases the identity column. So you can mention like that. Okay, you can mention column name, data type. Okay, date time method, default value. So if you want to give some default value, you can specify that. Like in SQL Server you can give some default value. If I don't assign any value, I can give some default value to that. Okay, dispose equals expression. So not that expression not required. So max length, you can define max length. So how many characters it can store, the max. Okay, namespace ordinal. Okay, I'll leave it. So unique. Unique means whether the values in each row of that column must be unique or not. So unique constraint also you can define. Just like your SQL Server table, whatever conditions, constraints, whatever you have, you can define for that. Okay, I will do one thing. I will I will mention that the column is unique, and the column name I am going to give name, and then data type of string. Okay, and now here I am going to add, instead of this one, this column name I am going to add, and I will try to add same name. Okay, okay, this name I am going to add same name. We will see what will be the output. See, an unhandled exception, it throws some error while adding the second row. Okay, if you see the data table, the data, whatever it contains, you can see the very first thing, that is Ganesh. It is already there. So when I'm trying to add this one, it is throwing some exception. So what is the exception? We will see view detail. So you just expand it, so you can see the message. Column name is constrained to be unique. Value Ganesh already present. Okay, like this you can define the conditions or whatever you want on this table columns. Okay, so that is how you can restrict data on this. Okay, this one I will change to Naresh again. Okay, so these are disconnected architecture. That's what I am telling from the beginning. Okay, so this way you can work with the data tables offline. Now,
जास्त कमी आहे तुझं
the,
पिवळं जास्त
hello. Okay, so the data set, I will show you one example. So I can create n number of tables. Okay, this is my table, and if I want to add one more table, I can add here data table dt student leaves equal to new data table student leaves. Okay, now dt dot student leaves, okay, sorry, dt student leaves dot columns dot add. So you can put some id column. Okay, and then this is let me add some auto increment column. Okay, data column equal to new column, the type is id. Okay, data type is type of integer. Okay, and then column dot auto increment true. Okay, column dot auto increment seed equal to 1, means from where it has to start. Okay, column dot auto increment step equal to 1. So with how, okay, column is already there, that's why it is throwing some error. Okay, so with this what it is doing, so what I am telling, so it is an identity column. The value should be incremented by 1, and the increment seed means from where it has to start, from which value it has to start, and for each record insert how many values it has to increment by. Okay, so it is taken care automatically. Now dt student leaves dot columns dot add column. Okay, dt student leaves dot, again I'm going to add some student id, that is type of integer. Okay, same way I will add few more columns. From date time to date time applied on. Okay, so these are the columns I'm adding here. So that's my table created. Now I'm going to add few rows. Data row equal to new, not new data row. This is dt student start new row. Okay, now row of id I need not to add because this is auto incremented. So student id equal to I can keep some one row of from date equal to, I can give some date, new date of, okay, this date object I can give year, year is 2015, and then month what is that, 12 I can give, and then day is 15, I'm giving this, okay, this is already declared, that's why it is giving error, leave row, okay, from to is this one, 20th, and day, and then leave applied on the 10th. So like this I can add many records to my data table. Okay, first add leave row. Okay, so like this I can add as many records as to my data table. So I'm going to add one more record, that is for student 2. Okay, so now we will try to execute this statement. What will happen? You'll see the data. So if you see in student tables, I have two records. So this student ID I have given one, and so this one I didn't give anything. So the column values automatically incremented. So given some values, the student ID I have 1 and 2. Okay, so these two tables I can add to my data set. I can create a new data set, that is set. Okay, I will use small, new data set. Okay, if you want to give some name, you can give your data set name, student DB, and then data set dot tables dot add. You can add the very first one DT, the second one DT student leaves. Like this, you can add as many tables as you can to your data set. If you run this example and if you see, your data set will contain all the thing, and the data set also you can see the values here itself. So it shows by default student table. Okay, if I want student leaves, I will change this. Simply the table names, it will show all the table names available in my data set, and you can browse, you can see. So this will show you the available tables in your data set, and you can see. Okay, so any doubts on this, or you guys are clear? Okay, I hope you guys are clear and you got the point of data set. Okay, so this is what data set, and now I'm going to discuss about the data adapter. Okay, so to discuss about data adapter, I will go to my previous example. So here I'm writing. Okay. So this is my previous example which I discussed when I started ADO.NET class. I showed you guys how to work with ADO.NET to communicate to your database. So here you can see my connected architecture. It gives manage classes. Okay, so this is a separate class. There is a program. Let me open that. This is my program. Okay, here I am asking about the operations, which one you want to perform. So I created insert, update, delete and view operations. Based on that, I created a class manage classes. Inside this I have created some static methods so that without initializing your class object you can call these methods. So the very first one is manage classes. What it will do, the stored procedure we have created here, this stored procedure will perform the basic operations like insert, delete, update. These three operations it will perform based on the parameters you pass to your stored procedure from C#. That's the manage classes will do. Now I have one more variant in my methods. This is to select the classes available in my database. So it will select all the classes. The result set will be returned to your SQL connected architecture, the data reader. Okay, so if I want to save the same data into my any disconnected architecture, so directly. So anyway, this data reader is faster when you compare to disconnected architecture objects. But if you want to access your data as a whole, okay, as a whole means, so you can fill that data into a data table. So that is basically possible by your data adapter. Okay, so this one, the get classes method. Here I am using same method. Before that I will create a data table dt classes equal to new dt new data table. Here I am giving classes. Okay, class data table. So this result I can directly store into my data table. Okay, so no need to execute this command. Okay, what I can do is, so this one also I am commenting SQL data adapter equal to new adapter. So it has, this constructor has different variants. One is you can directly pass your command. Okay, you passed your command, that is fine. If you don't assign any connection to this, okay, so you have already given here connection, so that's fine. If you don't give your connection object to command, what you can do is you can pass your command connection object here, but no need, we have already given that. After that, fill one method is there. This is the main method. Whatever the query result, if you want to keep that, if you want to put that result into a data table or data set, okay, you can use this fill method. So you want to fill, right? So dt classes, so this will fill the result, the entire result of your query. This will be filled in your data table. This data table you can return. Okay, return data table. So this is how it executes. So let me comment this. So I will get from there, and this one also I will comment. Okay, now I will call this method from here, the result data table dt class equal to, from this method I am getting my data result. Okay, for each data row in dt class dot rows, I can process now my row object. It will print the entire data for me. Okay. So we will see what is the output of this program. Okay, it should not be seen. Okay, so you want to insert or view. So we will view. So you can see the result. It gives me the data table. We will run it again. We will see. A small exception. Okay. So this get classes, it is directly filling. Before this method execution, my data table does not contain anything. Okay. But once this method got executed, you can see the result now. Okay, it got the result and it is shown. Now this result will be this result we are processing here. Okay, that's what your data adapter. Okay, so any doubts on this? So this data adapter, it accepts a data table or a data set. Okay, so if you want to process with a data set, you can process with a data set. Okay, so this one dot, it will contain anyway tables 0 I am keeping. Okay, so if you want to see the result now, so it accepts both the parameters data table object or a data set object. So now you can see the data set again the same way it gives the table. Okay, the result is here. So if it is confusing or any doubts, please ask me now. Are you guys good? Because this data table and data set are very important when we are going to work with Windows Forms and Web Forms ASP.NET. Okay, so from Monday onwards we will discuss about mainly Windows. Okay, for that week after that we will discuss about ASP.NET. During those classes we will mainly work with this data tables only. Okay, so please ask me any doubts if you have. Okay, so the data adapter class is part of C#ADB.NET data provider and it resides in your system.data.sql client namespace, and SQL adapter provides the communication between dataset and SQL database. You can use SQL adapter object in combination with dataset object. The adapter provides this combination by mapping fill method, which changes the data in the data set to match the data in the data source, and update, which changes the data in the data source to match the data in the data set. So it provides two-way update. Okay, but people normally nowadays, so this is very legacy model from data adapter updating the data in database. okay, the server. So that is not recommended, and there is an option, but that is not recommended. That's why I'm not discussing about the basic operations like create, update, delete from SQL data adapter. That is not recommended at all. Okay, that is very legacy. People some 10 years back, some 10-15 years back, they used to do like that. But nowadays there are many things available in .NET, and people think that this is not a good practice, but and nowhere people are using this operations, DML operations from data adapter. That's why that is not that much important. So that's why I'm not discussing about that. But filling the data, getting the data from database and filling it to a data table or a data set by using SQL data adapter, that is very very important, and it will be very useful throughout our classes from now onwards. Okay, that's why I told that method. And data set and data table, these are very simple when you work with. And data set, I told you, we can effectively manage the constraints, the relations between different tables. That is also not recommended, and that is also not good practice nowadays. People were following that some 10 years back, so now that is not required. That's why up to which level we need, that's what I told you guys. Okay, so any doubts on this data table, data set and SQL data adapter? Are you guys are good? Okay, I hope you guys are good. So the main differences between a data reader, data set and data adapter, that is a list here, and this is very very important for any interview. And one more thing I forgot to mention here. So from this program you have a data set. So the data set mainly operates on some XML. Okay, if you want to convert the data in a data set, you can convert that data into some XML format. Okay, so that is equal to dataset dot get XML. Okay, this will return some XML data for you. You can see the data in XML here. Okay, this way it is useful for maintaining your data in XML format. The dataset converts the data into XML and saves. Okay, if you want to see your data in XML format, the dataset has inbuilt support for that, and you can use this. But nowadays the trend changed a lot, and people are not using this. I can't say people are not using this, but people reduced using these data tables, data sets and data adapters. We have many ORM tools available. ORM means object relation mapping tools, that anyway I will discuss now. Okay, so the differences we will see. This is very very important for interviews. Okay, data reader is a read only and forward only record set which will have the data retrieved based on the select statement. We cannot do DML operations through data reader. DML means data manipulation. Data manipulations means you can create, update and delete. These three operations, create, update and delete. These operations you cannot perform through data reader, and this is read only and forward only. So the select statement result, whatever is there, that you can read, and forward means, so if the result, a select statement result is some 10 records, it is forward only. Means the record, if it reads the first record, it won't come back, it will go forward. The second record, third record, fourth record, until 10th record it will go, and it will not come back, and it will get your the first record, already processed record, it won't get back. Okay, that's the data reader. And coming to data set, which we can do all the DML operations. As I told earlier, by using data adapter, you can perform the DML operations using dataset. Whatever operations you have done through your dataset, you can directly apply from your data adapter. Okay, where is this adapter? Okay, here only I was using, right? So I will tell you adapter dot delete command. So you can execute these commands. You have already update command, delete command, insert command. So this kind of commands are there. So by using this you can execute your results. Okay, but this is anyway not recommended, that's why I am not at all telling this. Okay, you have string command text, you can prepare your command text and you can pass parameters and your connection and then transaction if you want. Okay, so this is not at all recommended, so I am not giving any example for that. So those DML operations you can perform from using adapter class, and data adapter is a bridge between database and dataset, works in disconnected mode. Okay, and data reader, using the data reader only one value can be accessed from the database. So at a time you can access only one value, means one record from a database. And then you have, using data set you can access any number of values from database. So it once in a single shot it fetches entire result from your database, so you can process that. And then data adapter acts as a bridge between data source and dataset, and it is a multi-purpose object, that is we can insert, update, delete through data adapter. So as we saw, there are commands available. Data read is a connected to the data source. As I told already, it is a connected, so you should work with data reader only when the connection is live. Dataset is connected to XML. As I show you, it is the data whatever you kept in your data set, it maintains the data through XML, so it is connected to that XML. And data adapter, it fetches all the required data from database and pass it to data set. Okay, whatever you need data, that will be passed to a data set or a data table. So the data set whatever is there, that you can consider for data table also. Okay, because data set is a collection of data tables only, end of the day. And data reader is connection oriented, you can find the changes in the database reflected in the data reader immediately. So it reads record by record. So whenever there is an update to your database, the update can be read by using data reader. Means you are reading some 10 records, some 10th record got updated while you were reading some fourth record. So whatever changes happen to the 10th record, by the time it reaches the 10th record, the changes will be available for your data reader. But data set, it fetches all the data in a single shot, and if you want to see the change in data, you have to again run the some method you have to run, so that the again the fresh data will be fetched. Okay, the data reader provides a fast forward only, read only stream of data from database. So it is very fast when you compare to data set. Okay, and it processes the data and it gives to you. But whereas data set, in-memory relation representation of data, a complete set of data that includes the tables that contain order and constraint the data, as well as the relationship between the tables. Because of it maintains all the relationships, all the constraints, it is a little bit slow when you compare to data reader. Data reader can't persist the data, means it cannot hold the data. Okay, but dataset, it holds the data. These are the main differences between these three objects. Okay, these three classes, and this is very much important for your interviews. Any doubts on these three? Okay, I hope you guys are clear with this. Okay, with this, ADO.NET is completed. Okay, if you feel anything is missing or you are not, if you are not clear with any topic or if you want to repeat something, you can ask me now. Okay, I hope you guys are clear. So this is not part of the course, but I would like to give a brief introduction to this new topic. And nowadays, people are very much uh, interested about this topic. That's why I want to give a brief introduction about this one. So a language integrated query, LINQ. Okay, we call it as LINQ, and this is full form is language integrated query. And so this is a new way to manipulate data either to or from database or from XML or simple list of dynamic data. So we'll discuss about each of these things. Okay. So link you to SQL. So link you to SQL is a component of .NET framework. It is introduced in 3.5 framework, a runtime infrastructure for managing relational data as objects. So far we saw to fetch the data from database, we are using some data readers, data tables, data set, and data adapters. Many things we were using so far. Okay, but what is a LINQ actually? A LINQ is language integrated query, and it is mainly implemented for the purpose like in my diagram. If you see, it supports in all the .NET framework languages. Okay, all the languages that were implemented on .NET framework, and it enables you the yellow part. If you see the yellow part, it says LDO.NET LINQ technologies. So it works to connect with your data sets and your SQL objects, SQL server, and entities. And left and right to that yellow part, you have link you to objects, link you to XML. So this is mainly the same way without creating all these methods. Okay, so if you see my program here, I have created so many methods. So to manage a stored procedure, okay. So to insert into a table some data, to update some data in the table, to delete some data in my table. I was using some methods here, and even to get all the data in a table, I am using some other method. So I have to write, I have to manually write to get all this data, to perform all these operations from my C sharp code. So this language integrated query, what it does is it will provide a context class, okay, which will help you to manage all these operations without writing a single line of code. Okay, so you need not to write a single line of code if you use link you to SQL concept. What it will do, what you have to do is all. So you need to create a file type of link you. Okay, link you to SQL entities. So I will open that and I will show you so that it will be easy. Okay, I will create a new folder. Okay, link you to SQL. So here what I can do is I can add a new item. So here I have the data in this link you to SQL classes. So the file extension is dbml. What I can do is school.db. So this is my database. Just enter. It will create a file for you. And all what you need to do is, so you define some server explorer means your SQL server where it is there. So this is my local database. Okay. What I can do is all the tables I can drag and drop to my space onto this file. I hope you guys are uh, getting what I am doing. Okay, you just drag and drop. So it expects server explorer. You just show your server explorer will be open, data connections. Inside that, your local server will be there. So the SQL server installed on your machine, it will show. Under that, this is the database. This database, whatever tables are there, you can use that. And if you want the SPs, you can use this too. You can drag and drop these also. Okay, these also got added. Now this is my schema here. So this creates everything for me. Okay, so a school dbml got created and layout created. Layout means this thing whatever you are seeing the diagrams, and cs is the actual files. So each table will be created with a class name. Okay, so each table in my database, a corresponding class will be created by my Visual Studio automatically. So if you go to this class, id is there, okay, name is there, class is there, branch is there, address, date of birth, everything is there. Okay, as I created in my database, the names will be added here. Okay, so this id is here, everything is here. So this, you are not supposed to edit this file, not even single character. If you edit anything, it will corrupt your data, your LINQ uh, class, and you cannot work with that. Okay, now go to program. Okay, so now SchoolDB is the class name I used. So by using SchoolDB data context, so this is the class created which will give entire handle to my application. So directly context dot, you have branches, classes, everything is there. Okay, classes. Okay, this is there. Before that, there is a keyword where. Where is a keyword that is also introduced along with LINQ in 3.5 framework. Where means any variable type. It can be any type of data. Okay. So if you declare some object where I equal to 0. So at the time of the declaring this variable, you have to assign some value. By the value type, so this is integer, so by this type, this data type of this I will be determined. If you give var means it can be any data type, and the data type will be decided when you assign the value, and this value you have to assign at the time of in declaring this variable. This is the var variable. Okay, got it. So now I am going to declare where classes equal to context dot classes. Okay, this will get all the classes by default. You need not to execute any query, anything. It will automatically create some. The LINQ is built on top of ADO.NET. Whatever queries I have written here, all the queries are select star from this class, right? This is automatically, this query is prepared by your LINQ, and this LINQ will execute that query for you. You need not to create any SQL connection object, any SQL command object, and you need not to call the method execute reader, something like that. Everything will be taken care by your LINQ. That is a new feature introduced in 3.5 framework of .NET. Okay, so this will execute that query and all the results will be kept in your classes object. So this classes is of type the table class. Okay, a collection of your classes. Okay, so we will run this and we'll see this will get in something else. Okay, let me settle this project. If you see here, I have a raw result view. You can see it here. It has LINQ class. The data you can see class 1, and the second one you can see MS1. Okay, MS symbol. So the query is prepared and executed for us by the LINQ without creating or writing any methods or any queries or any SQL connection objects, nothing. It is automatically taken care by your LINQ. That's the beauty of LINQ. And you can add the classes, everything. You can perform the CRUD operations from here itself. Okay, so I can create a type class. Okay, CLS equal to new class. CLS dot, okay, ID nothing required. Name I can give some, okay, MSc here. Okay, CLS dot description I can give say MSc hyphen double two. Okay, CLS dot name description, that's it, enough. So now what I can do is context dot classes dot, okay, and there I should have some method. What is that? Okay, so here I'm adding CLS, okay, context dot submit changes. Okay, this will add here, this one I am removing, or if you want I will keep that. What I will do is I will print those classes here for each class. CLN classes console dot write line name equal to cl.name plus description equal to cl.description. Okay, the same thing I will execute after that statement. Okay, we will see the result. Wait, to separate it I will give after a new class added through LINQ. Okay, so you can see after a new class added through LINQ. So you can see for the first time two classes added here. Okay, so class I MSN1 and MSC2 is there. After adding a new class, it is again two things. I added already once, that got saved to my database. If you want to see on my database what is there, you can see it. So you can see the data, it is here. That's the beauty of LINQ. You need not to create or you need not to be worried about the crude operations. You just need to add just like your collections. So how you perform using your list collection or array list, something like that, by using same concepts, you just need to add to your project. Okay, you just need to define your connection string and you create this dbml file. You add whatever tables you want to handle through LINQ. Okay, you keep it there, everything will be taken care by your LINQ. Isn't it easy, or any doubts? Are you guys clear about LINQ? Okay, that is one thing, LINQ. So to use link, you can even LINQ fully supports transactions, views, stored procedures, and user-defined functions. It also provides an easy way to integrate data validation and business logic rules into your data model and supports single table inheritance in the object model. So you saw already I have added my stored procedures also into it. So if you want to access a stored procedure, again the context is the main object, you can use it. So manage classes, branches, these are my stored procedures. These are just you can use like from your object oriented programming, how you call a method, you can call your stored procedures and you just need to pass the parameters here. Okay, that's the beauty and it is very useful. Okay, okay, if you want I can pass some more parameters here and we can see after that also manage classes, we can see that. Okay, so id I need not to pass because I am inserting string name. I can give latex first year. Okay, string description I can copy the same, delete null I am passing. Okay, after this if you want to execute the same thing, LINQ store procedure. Okay, this one also I am using. So you can see btech first year description, btech first year. So from the stored procedure also I am able to call using LINQ. This is the beauty of LINQ to SQL. So very handy to use. You need not to create any class objects or anything for your tables. You can directly consume. Only thing you need to do is you create a DBML file with any name and you just point one DBML file. You can point to one database. Okay, you cannot point it to multiple databases. One DBML file, one server, one database. That's it. Okay, a single database you can point. Okay, this database you can add whatever entities you require, whatever objects from the database you require, you can add it to here. Means the tables, stored procedures, views, whatever you want, you can add it to your LINQ file, that DBML file. Okay, so DBML means database markup language. Okay, so from this you can handle the CRUD operations for all the tables if you want, and if you want to access all your stored procedures, you can access. You just drag and drop whatever you have from your database server. You just drag and drop it here. It will provide all the means to handle. Okay, the easy way to handle all this. Okay, so that's the beauty of LINQ. Any doubts on this? So that is the very first concept from LINQ to SQL. There are lambda expressions. These are very useful. These are also introduced from 3.5 framework. So the term lambda expression has derived its name from lambda calculus, which in turn mathematical notation applied for defining functions. So in mathematical some probability somewhere you use the symbol you can see at the end of my slide. Okay, y implies y star y. You can see that, right? So this implies symbol we call it as lambda expressions. Okay, so by using this implies you can define a method or any operation by using that. If you use that, we call it as a some lambda expression. Okay, so I can give you a simple example from our program itself. Okay, so here I have used all my, so I have created so many classes. Okay, so if I want to filter the classes based on some name or something whichever contains year 2, something like that. Okay, so I have 2, with 2 there are 3 records. Okay, if I want to access all those records, okay, so not other than this MSC2 records, what I can do is I can simply create where result. I'll just put result. Okay, so I'm very much comfortable with where keyword. As I told, the where keyword is very important, and this is introduced in 3.5 framework. If you don't know what data type it will return a method, you just put where and your variable name, and you call that method. The output of that method or any variable, any data you give, by default the variable data type will be taken from the value it is assigned. Okay, so here what I am going to do is a small SQL LINQ query. Okay, from C in context dot classes where C dot name contains I already told you during string operations. Okay, contains MSC. Okay, so what I can do is here not condition I can apply select C. Okay, so this one, the LINQ main purpose is to query your objects or entities or XML, just like how you are querying your SQL data in SQL Server. To provide same means, the same way the LINQ is introduced. Okay, that's why the LINQ is very much popular and people nowadays, so whoever got used to LINQ, they cannot write, but they will write a LINQ statement for every 4 lines of code. Okay, that much popular it is, and this one makes a programmer life very easy. So the same thing, whatever I have done it here. If I ask you without LINQ, what you have to do is you have to write some for each loop. From that for each loop, you have to filter all these values. And the beauty of LINQ is lazy initialization. Lazy initialization means whenever the control, if we do F10, it executes line after line, right? So the LINQ query result, it won't be processed immediately. The result will be processed whenever you need it. So this result won't be processed right away here. So wherever I am going to use this result, okay, where cin result, okay, this time the result will be processed here. Okay, so the performance of your application also improves by using LINQ. Okay, you can see the name, ID, everything. So the data type we don't know for the result. Okay, but the result of this my LINQ query, this one I can call it as LINQ query. The result of this one is IEnumerable of C. What is IEnumerable? I told you already while discussing about for each loop. Okay, the IEnumerable interface. Okay, now description. C is description. So IEnumerable means it is a collection. Okay, the collection, from that collection we can use for each loop. So again, where C means it is the result contains the collection of classes. The for each will iterate each object in my collection. The object is of type class, instead of where I can use class. Okay, so by default, if I give where, the result contains anyway classes, right? So the class type it will be taken for this for this variable. So now this is like this. So the result will be without MSC. Okay. So what I'm going to do is simple LINQ query. Okay. So you can see a simple LINQ query. This is returned without adding anything, without showing that MSC. Okay. So this is the beauty of LINQ. You can query your objects. Okay. You can query XML. So here I didn't tell you. I was supposed to discuss about lambda expression, right? So this same query I can write using some other method, that is directly result. Okay, without from, there is many variants in LINQ. What I am going to do is context dot where, sorry, classes dot where. Directly I can use, like, these are called extension methods. Okay, where C implies C dot. Okay, this one I can copy here. Okay, dot select. Okay, no need of that one. Okay, anyway, it will the where condition will filter the result. Okay, and it will return me the values. So I will comment all these values because it is adding many values set. Okay. Okay, now you can see there is no MSC. Okay, both the ways you can write. These are called extension methods. Okay, you can directly at extension methods means by default it may have some methods. If you want to add some more methods, what you can use is what the your custom methods you can add this. These are default extension methods. Okay, so these are actually the LINQ. Okay, you can work with XML also in the same way. Okay, here I used this symbol. This means I am going to define some lambda expression. C implies means I defined this variable, and with this variable I am going to perform few operations. Okay, this operation means I am validating this condition. That's what this. Okay, so any more doubts on this link you? This is again a vast subject, but I'm giving a brief introduction, and this is not part of our course. But why I'm telling is in my future classes, okay, it is very handy to me, so I may use it. I may use it in few situations. That's why I am briefly introducing this concept. So with this ADO.NET also completed. Okay, means it is completed means we are particularly discussing about the topic is completed, but that is not completed yet. Okay, throughout our course we are going to use those objects. Okay, those features, those concepts we have to use. Okay, so if I give some assignment means that assignment contains you need to walk through all the classes whichever I have completed so far, and you have to get the inputs or the topics whichever I covered. You have to go through that once, then only you can complete those assignments. Okay, so you guys should be very thorough through all the topics we discussed so far. Okay, so any more doubts or you guys are clear? Okay, that is what link you. Any more doubts? With this, we are done with the basic C sharp. From Monday onwards, we will discuss about WinForms. Okay, you guys are clear? Okay, guys, thank you. Have a nice weekend and happy Christmas, and have a nice day. Okay, I am closing the class here as you don't have any doubts.